Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Ian Walsh. I'm the sales manager for Meditech UK, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined this afternoon by Ian Brooks, who's the service and installation manager of ATG Access. Today we're going to have a chat about the story of the implementation of ERP at ATG and try and get some feeling, some feedback of how that came about, how it went, and where they are now. Before we dive in, just a few things to mention. There will be a question and answer session at the end of this presentation. Questions can be entered via the webinar pane, and this is also where you can download brochures and other documentation. The webinar is being recorded, so you can find it on our website, which is meditech.com/webinars, and there you can also view previous and see what's upcoming in webinars also. After the webinar, there's a poll where you can leave your feedback to help us improve for future presentations. Okay, ATG. Ian, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Afternoon.
Please, could you tell us a little bit about ATG and what you do?
Yeah, of course. We design, manufacture, sell and support our unique range of anti-terrorist and vehicle protection systems. We throughout the UK and the whole world, we provide the service for.
And that's everything from
gates, barriers, bollards, blockers, arm barriers, everything you need.
Stop a truck.
Everything that will stop someone ticking your caravan off the end of your drive to a 30-ton truck, yeah.
Okay, certainly use some of those around this office, I would think.
Yes.
Okay. Going back in time, when did you realise that the systems that were in place weren't capable of supporting the development and growth of the business?
It was probably about 13 years ago. We were going through a management buyout at the time, and the team then realised that what we had wasn't fit for future. If we wanted to progress as a business, we knew we needed to do something about that.
Right, okay. What was it that was going on in the business that was causing the problems, that was this big issue?
I guess lack of communication between different departments,
right.
Isolation of data. One department would be working off one piece of data. It just wasn't syncing up.
Lots of different systems, spreadsheets,
paperwork in people's heads.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. You don't have the telepathy module?
We don't, no, we didn't go for that, no.
Okay. What needs did you have that push you towards ERP rather than just trying to consolidate with spreadsheets and so on?
I guess it was just the need for a system that gave us everything that we needed, something that someone had used before. They could push us down the right processes, a predetermined track, as
right.
opposed to us deciding this is what we want to do. We're deciding it's best practice. Right. We know there's that many people out there that can tell us what's best practice.
Right. People have implemented ERP systems before. Exactly. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Why do you think the systems in place before Priority didn't work? I mean, I know you said they're disparate, but had the workflows been thought through, or they just developed? Sometimes when you have a turnover of staff, when you ask why you do something a certain way, the answer you get back is, we've always done it that way.
Yeah. I think it was probably a combination of things. We'd grown from a really small family business just doing one thing, and we were introducing extra products, extra processes. Marketing had come into it. You then have a sales team and a manufacturing, and we were just growing beyond the one person takes a sales order, wanders down to the shop floor, makes it, ships it. We were too big for that. It just wasn't working. Right,
and that just grew organically and just got out of control.
Yes, yeah, and was noticed by the team that were in the management buyout, and it was right. We need this to improve.
Okay, so what was it that convinced you that this was the right ERP package to take the company forward? What was it about?
The team that was involved in the management buyout actually got some consultants in who did as a statement of requirements. We were then able to define that without any any influences from any software people, we could actually define what we wanted.
Right.
We know influences was exactly what we needed to move forward. We could use then that statement of requirements to go out to, like yourselves, what can you match against this?
So that was a snapshot of what was happening then, but also the goals where you wanted
for the future.
Yes, where you wanted to be, because that's very important. We often find when we speak with prospects that they say, okay, well, this is how we do this, whereas really we should be considering how do you want to do that if you had the tools available.
Absolutely, which was a key feature for us at the time. We were just a manufacturing organisation, but we started to get into the projects, we knew that a big concept of what we would need would be project control.
Right, so there you're moving away from just simple, I want 5 of these items, 10 of these items.
Exactly.
And then with the project, I guess, you need to do a survey and there are multiple drawings and various documents to control.
All the analysis that comes from running a project.
Right.
Yeah.
So the projects, was that in from day one, or was it added a latter stage?
No, it was in from day one. Yeah, absolutely. Right. It was kind of seen as a requirement from day one.
Right.
We built on it in the 13 years, but absolutely it was in from day one as a module.
But as a business, it's kind of drifted more towards a project than...
yeah, when we implemented, we were probably, it was an 80-20 split.
Okay.
And now it's 80-20 the other way.
Right, okay. Okay, very interesting. This is a question that we often get asked when we're talking with prospective ERP projects is, when you approached go live, was it a phased implementation? Did you take one department at a time, or was there the big switch where at the time of go live, that was it, everybody is using Priority from this day?
Our MD at the time was an absolute advocate of setting this date.
I wonder what you were going to say then.
Absolute. It was this is the date, we're going to have a big switch on.
Yeah.
Turn off old systems that day. Monday morning, you'll be running from this time. And that was an immovable date. That was never going to change. Have we added modules and processes from then? Of course we have.
Right.
But we were absolutely using the basics. It was running our business day one.
And obviously there's been a pilot phase to test all the
data. Of course. Yeah. I mean, we've done all the user training, the user acceptance, the data take on. We've done all that previously. But the date of going live was not moving.
Did not move?
No.
Excellent. Okay.
And that worked really well. It kind of gave you a good figurehead. You kind of knew you were never going to get away from your testing. You were never going to get away from your data entry and all that. It was a case of this date's looming, you will do it.
Yeah, I think with data migration, there's one thing that can scupper a go live date. It's trying to get through that, because it's never a technical issue. It's always, you've got 3 vendors with a very similar name. One's got a capital T, one's got lowercase t, and it's sorting out those issues.
I mean, I think it worked for us. Was there issues with that? Yeah. Did we add data in a way that we, looking back, would have added it in a different way? Of course we would.
Yeah, of course.
But you can fifth and faff and make these decisions for months and months and never go live. So it was the best way to do it.
You've got to step on the roundabout at some point.
You have.
As they say. With the new system, what was the feeling from the workforce? Were they reluctant to change? Did they embrace it? Did they see it as the way forward?
I would say a mixture. You've always got the stick in the muds that don't want to change. This is how I've done it. This is how I'm always going to do it till the day I leave. The other people that want to move forward, progress, new ways of doing things, improvements. So I would say we had a good mix. Some of the people that would stick in the muds that didn't want to do it, now the biggest advocates of what we do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. You get in the spectrum of where people sit, I think we had everything.
Right. Because sometimes we find that there's a process that was one step before might be a couple of steps now, but that benefits the rest of the business tremendously and saves them 50 steps. And sometimes I think it takes a while for that to sink in, and then you can see when they've got the right information at the right time, they don't make mistakes, and they appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just the concept of taking leads, turning them into opportunities. It may seem on an initial spec of, well, that's a couple of steps. All I do is write it down on this little piece of paper.
Yeah.
But once it's in the system, everyone can see it. Everyone can use the same information. You can use it time and time again. You're not losing your piece of paper. You buy into it eventually when they see the process improvements.
Yeah, because you do fully use the CRM side of the system. You go through leads, opportunities, price quotations.
We do.
Right the way through. So
Yes.
I think you use it better than we do, to be honest.
Excellent.
But I can change that. Looking at the product itself, obviously in the early days it was client server version.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about using it? How did it look, feel? How did it perform?
I would say, given that it was the pre-rich interface, like you say, the client-server option, because it's a more basic feel to it, it probably worked in our favour. It was, not that I'm saying your new rich text isn't easy to navigate, it is. It's just, it's an easier, cleaner, more obvious for if you're not used to it. So I think that absolutely worked in our favour. It could just be kind of dropped in, service call, I'll fill this form in, and it just kind of worked. So that kind of worked in our way, in our favour. I would say my kind of personal view on it was, as a super user,
okay,
the granularity of changes you could make, you could absolutely change each person's experience of Priority uniquely to them. The fields they can see on it, the forms, the process, the privileges. You could make it unique per person, per department, per role, however you needed to do it. It worked well.
Right, so you took the standard screens and took away fields and added fields so that they only saw the information that was pertinent to their role.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so you still got standard functionality, but you just blocked what you want people to see
and
have access to.
Which kind of, again, positives and negatives, in hindsight, everything's wonderful. You'll take a feature off someone because you'll think, they don't need it. 2 years down the line, they're saying, it'd be wonderful if Priority could do so. Well, actually, it can't. Why didn't you tell me about that? I could have been saving me time for the last. So we tend now to let people have a freer reign in the knowledge that I want to press that button. Let me log on the test system. I'll have a play, and I can come back and do it on the live.
Super. How do you feel Priority's helped?
Well, massively. When we kind of 13 years ago, so when we implemented it, I would say we was about £5 million business.
Yes.
We're now about a £20 million business.
Wow. Okay.
Making that move without taking masses of headcount on would have been impossible without a solution like this. It's just not feasible to make that move.
Cope with that amount of transactions.
Yeah.
Excellent. How has your use of the system changed? Obviously, we implemented it a long time ago, and workflows change as the business changes. What changes have you seen?
I would say from our initial implementation, you could look at it two ways. Some ways it's changed not at all. We still use the same process flow. Like I say, leads, opportunity, sales, shipments, invoices.
Yep.
But then in some other ways, you'll learn new features and add new things. The automation of sending invoices out and bits and pieces like that. Yep. So if you were to look at the bigger picture of we changed a lot, no. If you were to look at individual roles from day one to 13 years later, probably massively.
Right.
Reporting you can get out of it now that we didn't know on day one and things like that.
Okay, so you have a collection of various user-specific reports that you use.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What would you tell other people that are considering ERP? Are there any hot tips that you can give them?
It's positive. Like I say, we could have never moved from where we are to where we are now with a paper-based, individual systems. It's a buzzword, but communication is always key in companies, and it is our internal communication. We still encourage people to get up out of the chair and go and chat to people.
Yeah.
But it's there, they know what they're doing, it's a process flow. It just adds communication, organisation and structure to the way you run your business.
Fantastic. Okay. As the business grows, how do you foresee the use changing in the business?
Our biggest driver at the minute is for a mobile solution.
Okay.
Service engineers, field engineers, project managers, salesmen.
Yeah.
Get them up, get them out, get them shaking hands with customers, still being able to do what they do in the office is kind of where we're driving to. We're a good way down that line, but that's our kind of future for where we are.
And that's worldwide?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It builds into the communication. If you can keep one place for all your communication, it just works. Whether your salesman in Qatar or the office is doing the same function in the same way as the guy that's sat in the office.
Or the service guy in the pub.
Exactly.
But not thank me for saying that.
No.
Well, actually, we miraculously had exactly 15 minutes and 5 seconds, so that wasn't a bad effort.
It's my natural organisation.
There is. Is there anything else that you want to add before we look at any questions from the viewers?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, feel free to add. Now, if anybody would like to ask any questions, please use the webinar panel, and I will address them as they come up. All quiet at the moment. I'm just waiting for one of Ian's colleagues back at ATG to write something interesting.
Yeah, which I suspect they'll be very tempted. Threats have already been issued.
Yes, I'm sure. Okay, any questions for Ian? Doesn't look like it. You've done such a good job.
Comprehensive.
It's comprehensive and very much appreciated. Thank you very much for your afternoon today. Please have a look at the ATG website, have a look at what they do. If you have any questions, please send them on to me, and I'm sure you'll be happy to answer them.
Certainly will. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody that's watching.